Behind the polished smiles and familiar routines, Prince William and Princess Catherine have quietly made a move that speaks volumes. No fanfare, no dramatic headlines, just a thoughtful decision unfolding behind palace doors. So why are royal watchers paying close attention now? Because this surprise announcement isn't about headlines, it's about leadership. It's about foresight. With a subtle change to their inner team, the Prince and Princess of Wales once again show how carefully and gracefully they prepare for what comes next. And that quiet confidence? It's hard to miss. And it was behind those closed palace doors that the real story began. Who Lisa Ravenscroft is, and why she fits. Lisa Ravenscroft is not a public figure, and that is exactly why her appointment stands out. In royal households, the most influential roles are often held by those who operate quietly, well away from the spotlight. Her arrival at Kensington Palace follows that familiar pattern, measured, deliberate, and carefully judged. Before joining the Prince and Princess of Wales, Ravenscroft built her career at Middleton, one of the world's leading global communications firms. It's an environment defined by high expectations, constant pressure, and little margin for error. The work is rarely visible, but its impact is significant. For a household navigating global attention on a daily basis, that kind of background is not incidental, it's relevant. According to her professional profile, Ravenscroft led a UK team responsible for more than £2 million in annual business. More importantly, her role involved advising high-profile clients across complex and fast-moving situations, moments where timing mattered, language mattered, and restraint often mattered most. It's an experience shaped less by spectacle and more by judgment. Almost immediately, her appointment sparked speculation. In royal reporting, timing is always scrutinized, and new hires are rarely seen as accidental. Yet palace sources have been clear on one point. Ravenscroft's role is not tied to any specific crisis. Instead, she will work within the palace press office, supporting day-to-day media relations, coordinating with international press, and helping manage the expanding scope of William and Catherine's public work. That clarification shifts the story. Because this isn't about reacting to pressure, it's about preparing for growth. As the Prince and Princess of Wales take on a larger, more global role, the demands on their communication structure naturally increase. What's required isn't urgency but consistency, not louder messaging but clearer coordination. Ravenscroft's position fits squarely within that need. There's also a quiet thread of continuity behind her move. Edelman's UK operation is led by Julian Payne, a former senior palace aide who once served as head of communications for King Charles. Reports suggest Payne may have supported Ravenscroft's transition into royal service, an overlap that signals shared standards and trusted professional judgment. So why does she fit this household at this point in time? William and Catherine have consistently shown a preference for long-term planning over short-term optics. Their public image has been shaped carefully over years, not through constant visibility, but through steadiness and credibility. That approach extends beyond appearances and into how their team is built. Ravenscroft steps into a system that already knows its voice. Her role isn't to redefine it, but to help maintain clarity as responsibilities grow. As Prince William moves closer to the responsibilities of kingship, every engagement and every message carries added significance. This was never meant to be a headline-making hire. It was a practical decision, shaped by experience and timing. And that, perhaps, is why it fits so well. Lisa Ravenscroft doesn't arrive to change the story, she arrives to help ensure it's told clearly, calmly, and on the Prince and Princess of Wales's own terms. Timing, speculation, and what the palace is not saying. In royal life, timing is never just timing. Every appointment, every departure, every quiet adjustment invites interpretation. So it was hardly surprising that Lisa Ravenscroft's arrival immediately sparked speculation. When changes happen behind palace doors, observers instinctively ask not only what has changed, but why now? Here's the hook worth pausing on. The palace didn't rush to explain itself. There were no lengthy briefings, no defensive clarifications. Palace sources simply emphasized that Ravenscroft's role is not crisis-specific. She is not stepping in to manage a single controversy. And in the royal world, that restraint speaks volumes, because what is not said often matters as much as what is. Speculation, of course, thrives in gaps. Some linked the timing to broader turbulence within the monarchy. Others were quick to read symbolism into her background in high-pressure communications. Yet the palace response remained steady, even understated. No denials wrapped in urgency, no redirections. Just a quiet insistence on normality and long-term planning. That calm tells its own story. If this were a reactive move, the signals would look different. Instead, Ravenscroft is being integrated into the existing palace press office, supporting daily operations and coordination. This isn't intervention, it's continuity. William and Catherine have never governed by reaction. Their approach favors anticipation, strengthening systems before they're tested. Seen through that lens, this appointment feels less like a response to events and more like a natural step in an ongoing evolution. As their public roles expand, complexity follows. What's needed isn't louder messaging, but clearer structure put in place early. And perhaps the most telling detail of all is how little the palace felt compelled to say. No dramatics, no urgency, just calm clarity. Because sometimes the strongest signal isn't an explanation, it's composure, not crisis control, but long-term design. At first glance, it's easy to assume that any senior communications appointment inside a royal household is about managing trouble. But in this case, the more revealing story lies in what this role is not. This is not crisis control, it is something quieter and far more durable. Here's the distinction that matters. Crisis thinking looks backward, long-term design looks ahead. Palace sources have been clear that Lisa Ravenscroft's role sits within the existing communication structure, not outside it. She is not assigned to fix a single issue or respond to a particular moment. Her focus is the everyday architecture of communication coordination, consistency, and alignment. These are not emergency measures. They are foundations. That approach mirrors how William and Catherine have long handled public life. They understand that visibility does not automatically create influence, and that overreaction often weakens authority. Their public restraint reflects a deeper operational philosophy: build systems that hold steady under pressure. As Prince William moves closer to future responsibilities, the margin for inconsistency naturally narrows. Messages travel further, silences are noticed. In that environment, long-term design becomes essential, not to control narratives, but to ensure coherence over time. Ravenscroft's background points to fluency in precisely that kind of work, the sustained, unglamorous effort of maintaining clarity day after day. There is no push to rebrand or signal sudden change. Instead, the emphasis is on strengthening what already exists. Here's the quiet truth: design works best when no one notices it working. The Wales household has consistently favored evolution over disruption. Adjustments are made carefully, integrated respectfully, and paced for longevity. That mindset turns continuity into strategy. Ultimately, this appointment reflects a belief that leadership is revealed not only in moments of crisis, but in the structures built long before them. In the world William and Catherine are preparing for, success won't be measured by how loudly they respond, but by how consistently they endure. A pattern of deliberate change inside the Wales household. Taken on its own, any single appointment can look like a momentary adjustment, but viewed in context, Lisa Ravenscroft's arrival fits into a much clearer pattern, one defined not by sudden shifts, but by deliberate, carefully paced change. This is not a household in flux, it's a household in transition, moving with intention. Here's the hook to keep in mind: meaningful change rarely arrives all at once. In recent years, the Prince and Princess of Wales have made a series of quiet decisions that reveal how they manage evolution behind the scenes. When long-serving members of their team move on, it isn't framed as disruption. It's treated as a natural progression acknowledged with respect, not rushed past. That tone matters. It signals stability rather than uncertainty. A notable example came in July 2025 when Natasha Archer, Catherine's trusted personal assistant of more than 15 years, stepped away from palace life to establish her own private consultancy. Her departure was not abrupt, nor was it handled with silence. Instead, it marked the end of a long chapter defined by loyalty and mutual trust. In royal households, longevity like that is never taken lightly. At the same time, continuity has been openly valued. Longtime nanny Maria Teresa Turion-Borrallo, who has cared for Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis since George's birth, was awarded a Royal Victorian Medal in King Charles's New Year honors. Trained at the prestigious Norland College, she has been a constant presence in the children's lives for over a decade. Here's another hook. Change feels different when loyalty is remembered. Together, these moments tell a coherent story. People are not quietly erased from the picture. They are thanked, recognized, and, where appropriate, celebrated. New figures step in not to replace relationships, but to support the next phase of responsibility. That approach creates continuity even as the household evolves. This pattern reflects how William and Catherine view leadership more broadly. They don't equate renewal with reinvention. Instead, they focus on refinement, strengthening systems, honoring experience, and adjusting carefully as their roles expand. That philosophy applies just as much to private household decisions as it does to public engagements. And this is where Ravenscroft's appointment finds its place. She joins a team that is not being rebuilt from scratch, but thoughtfully reinforced. Her role complements existing structures rather than overturning them. In an environment that values discretion and institutional memory, that matters deeply. Here's the quiet truth beneath it all. Stability isn't static. It's maintained. As the Prince of Wales moves closer to future responsibilities, the demands on his household will only increase. Preparing for that future doesn't require sweeping change. It requires steady hands, trusted support, and an ability to evolve without losing identity. Seen through that lens, these personnel decisions form a clear pattern, not haste, not reaction, but deliberate, measured change guided by respect for the past and readiness for what lies ahead. What this tells us about William and Catherine's leadership style. Taken as a whole, these quiet decisions reveal a leadership style shaped by discipline, humanity, and restraint. William and Catherine lead with clear structure, yet never at the expense of warmth. They value professionalism while remaining deeply aware of the people behind each role. Their public presence feels approachable, not because it is impulsive, but because it is carefully considered. And at times, through Catherine's rare and sincere moments shared with the public, that balance becomes visible authenticity, offered with intention and care. In a world often driven by impulse, their leadership stands apart for its calm, consistency, and quiet confidence. If you'd like to continue following the meaningful shifts taking place behind palace doors, consider subscribing so you don't miss what comes next.